Jim Allison, Dunes Realty. The question is just this: should I stay or should I go now? That question's been asked for a long time, but as a property owner, you need to ask that question. If I stay, wonderful. We've loved the house, we've loved the condominium, we've enjoyed it for many years. But you got to keep up with the maintenance, and then the other part is renovations. Maintenance is first. It's an oceanfront property, it's a beach house, it's a creek house. We've got salt air. We've got the moisture, the humidity, we've got the sun, the wind, and it does a number on the things that are metal, whether they're exterior lights or the gas grill or nails that aren't galvanized or even better stainless. Those things start to show. I've had issues before where decks and railings have given way because of the lack of stainless components. Maintenance is one thing. Make that list. If you've kept up with it, you're in great shape. If you've gotten a little bit behind, catch up. The other fork in that same road is renovations. At what point do we renovate? If it's brand new, you're good to go. If you did it last year, 2 years, 3 years ago, you're fine. If you purchased this house that was built 20 years ago, you've owned it for 3 or 4 years, it might be time to start to upgrade some things. Just for personal use, that's it. Upgrade it for personal. If it's for income, you can really change your income by adding some things, by upgrading, whether you're doing your kitchen cabinets, your countertops, your appliances. They all cost money, but they all make money. And it's really funny how that works specifically when you invest in your own place, where the money's coming out of your wallet right now, but you're going to get it back. And that's a big part of this type of investment. The other thing that you need to ask yourself that is so important is, have you met your goal regarding the investment in the second house? We all know we don't have to have a second house, but because you do, you want to go back and ask that question. But have we met our goal? Was it purely an investment? Was it a combination? There's so often that a buyer buys a beach house, beach condominium for personal use, to use it a few weeks in the summer for family, use it in the fall and spring for family, but also capture income to help you offset the cost of your taxes and your insurance and your utilities. It's a great way to be able to do that. The other part is to look at the cost of your money. The cost to pay the interest on a mortgage, or the cost of the money that's sitting static in a property like this. It's not necessarily static, but is there a better place for your money? Have you enjoyed the time at the beach? Is it wonderful, a great season? That season can continue on for many, many years, or does that season, now that things have changed, kids are in college, we're not using it the way we used to, it's sitting at the beach, and yes, it's gaining equity, that's for sure, but is this the right time? And I think you need to ask those questions based on the season that you are. You need to ask yourself, has the reason I purchased the beach house changed? Whether it's a condo, a place at the beach is really what I'm referring to. Looking back, when you did purchase it, did you purchase pure rental? Did you purchase a combination of a little bit of rental and some personal use, or a whole lot of rental and a little bit of personal use? Or was it just pure fun? Was it pure a second home at the beach? And I guess that's a big part of it looking forward, that you've owned the property. We saw this a lot during COVID, where people bought a house, say in 2021, and they realized the equity they had it, and halfway through 22, they said, good grief, we're going to stand to make net $100,000. So the answer is go. We flipped it. We didn't have any real investment other than financial in it. That's why we got it, and that's why we're getting out. They netted their $100,000 and walked on. Other times, you bought a property in order to have a place for the family and also offset the cost with the rentals. But the other part of it is just purely family. We got it when the kids were young, and we enjoyed it for years and years and years. And now that high school and then college are on the way, the kids just aren't using it as much as we thought they would. Or the kids have graduated school, they've gotten married, and they're moving on, and they're not coming here quite as much. But Those are some of you really want to look at to determine where you are. Do I stay? Do I go? Do I renovate? This is another question you need to ask yourself. What does the property need? And there's a fork in that road. There's two parts of that: renovation or maintenance. Big difference, similar type of action that needs to occur. Let's start with maintenance. If you've been keeping up with the maintenance, there's always just a checklist of things that you want to do. Check your windows, make sure nothing's leaking, look at your HVAC, those basic things. Look under sinks. When you're doing rentals, there's some wear and tear that happens that's natural, and you just want to keep up with it and stay ahead of it. If you're looking to do renovations, that's a whole different game. Just that, you want to bump something up, you want to add some space to your oceanside deck, you want to change some flooring. Painting is typically an easy thing, but bottom line, sticking with current colors is very important, and it's not overly expensive, not as cheap as it was, but not overly expensive to do whatever current, whether it's a neutral color or an accent wall or an earth tone. Different things like that really can add value to your place, and add value if you're staying or if you're selling. Either way, that's an important thing. But at this point, what would you spend to keep it? And those are important things too. They really mirror with what I said a few minutes ago about maintenance, but those things are important as well, because if you're doing rentals, you want to keep your rent books up. That can slide. It doesn't happen all at once, but over a few years, it can slide. What I was about to say is, a few years ago, we saw it more and more as people weren't doing the basics. You had to do it. And I mentioned this, I think I mentioned this earlier, where we were in that transition probably 15 years ago regarding televisions. That was a big deal. People would have these big screen tube TVs that weighed enough that four guys had to bring it into the beach house. And then we shifted, and they were expensive, into flat screen TVs. And at that point, if you didn't have one, renters were looking over yours into something else. Now, if there was other features that offset the TVs, that'd be okay. But there was a point when even the smallest to the very largest vacation place had a flat screen TV. And then it morphed into every bedroom, especially the kids' bedrooms. When the little ones are playing video games, I mean, it does rain at the beach every once in a while. And when the kids are inside or someone's under the weather, that is a great feature, a great amenity to have in your beach house. But going back to the question, the stuff that you need to do to keep that house going and keep your rent going, look at that. I said in an earlier video, is get a subscription to Coastal Living or something similar to that, and look at the trends, things that are trending right now for vacation homes in the southern coast, in the southern Atlantic, things that moms and dads are looking towards to have activities that go beyond the swimming pool. The things that's a mom-dad activity is a fire pit. I've seen that where they do that off the beach, still obviously in the property footprint, but overlooking the pool towards the ocean and doing something like that, doing bocce ball or cornhole or an outdoor kitchen, but definitely the kids stuff as well. Those are items that you want to keep up with. It's a decision you want to make to say, what would I do to keep this? And those are some of the things you want to do to keep it fresh, keep it looking good. We have stains in the ceiling. It's natural. It happens. The renter overflows the shower or a sink, and that water runs right through. It's not that big of a deal. The ceiling dries, but there's dirt, there's dust that's between the floor and the ceiling below, and that dust leaches into the ceiling and it gets dark. That's something you got to do. Most people do it, but every once in a while you forget about it. You got to kills it, paint it, and move on like it was never there. But I guess that's a question that you want to ask yourself. What would I do to keep this house? What is it worth today? You got to know that, and alluded to it or referenced it in the previous section about the value of it and flipping it and just that, the goal of buying it to sell it. That happens a lot, and I think that it depends on where you are in the cycle. ultimately, if you stick a pin in the calendar, and I don't mean a monthly calendar, but an annual calendar, and if you purchased it in 1970, 1980, 1990, the year 2000, after that boom in the early 2000s, we thought we would never hit those values again. COVID caused us to surpass it quickly. But I guess what I'm saying is, not I guess, I am saying, when you look at that time frame until now, you've got equity. Unless something happened and you borrowed heavily against the house, you've got profit. And that is a real important thing to look at. Certainly you have expenses that you've replaced along the way. You've replaced a roof or multiple air conditioning condensers, or things like that are big ticket items. But ultimately, when you look at the way the beach has improved, the equity that we've gained is tremendous. And I think that's an important thing to look at. Now, if you bought during the COVID boom, and meaning 3 years ago, you're probably not in that position yet. That is something to consider. But that's almost the only time frame when you don't have a lot of equity. And I guess the other thing is if the house just didn't have much maintenance. If you took it over from family and your predecessor didn't keep it up, that could be an issue. But that's a rarity, just because the land value is typically so high at this point. This next one may not make sense until I describe it. And the word is don't overdo it. Don't over improve it. And that's an easy one to fall into. And I'll tell you who does it. Retired guys that are handy. They'll come in and they'll do the hinges in the front door and realize those hinges look really nice, but the hardware itself, not so much. They'll replace the hardware and it morphs. And then they're painting the door or replacing the door. And then they're looking at the siding around it or the side lights and think, we're not doing that. We have stained glass and we need to have clear glass. And it just keeps going without stopping. And once you do stop and look back, you've got to do the siding and the windows too. And that project isn't over for quite some time. Now, with beach houses and beach condominiums, that's not as big of an issue, but I'll tell you where it does happen. You've got an older house or an older condominium, and you decide, and I'm going to use the example of the hinges to the front door or doors in general. And you've got a hinge color, door knob color that's dated, and that changes fast. To be everything was always that bronze color, sort of gold color, and then we shifted into that stainless steel, and then it went to the rubbed oil, and then is bouncing around. We're back to gold, maybe stainless is next. Fads, they don't last long anymore. My point is, if you jump in and do one of those and do something that's very trendy in a good way, but you don't do the stuff beside it, that potential buyer or renter sees what you didn't do and not what you did do. It's one of those things where you've got to jump in and do the majority of it or none at all. And none at all certainly does work. And you certainly are going to get typically a higher rent or a higher sales price if you do it all. But sometimes if you do some of it, it's distracting and you're conversely not going to do well. So do nothing at all and describe that. This one needs a little bit of work. This one needs a little bit of updating. It's not an insult. It's just a classic house. And that's a big part. And that one that we can explore that a little bit more with a phone call or whatever. But I encourage you to touch base with a realtor who's been doing it for a while, who understands the trends of your market. Ask, what should I do, if anything at all? And the answer will be different it's house to house. And it's just one of those things that comes with experience. This last segment is a bit of a wrap up. Keep, improve, or sell. Should I stay or should I go? And that's a decision you and your family need to make. And only the two of you can do that. I back up. In 2009, that was a decision that there was a third party that was involved. When things got crazy and money was flowing free, 100% loans, no credit checks, that was another time that another entity, the bank, was making a decision if you were going to keep it or sell it. But that's not the case now. Our numbers are good, and keep it. If your family loves it, you love it. It's not a burden on you. It's something that if you rentals are improving and getting better. keep it. It's an asset that you can sleep in. It's an asset that you can use at Christmas and Thanksgiving. From that standpoint, enjoy the property. The other part is improve. If you have the means to improve it and you love your house, improve it. If you have some space, this one comes in more frequently on the creek houses, between the house and the seawall. If you have space for a swimming pool and you would enjoy that, do that. Make that improvement. Porches, whether front porches or back porches, increase the size of them. Fire pit, that's an easy one. And that's a fun thing, especially when you enjoy your house in the spring and fall, more fall than anything. It's a great gathering place. It's easy to do, especially because you don't do wood, you do propane. And it's easy to turn off, turn on for safety. In fact, I discourage wood because you get those embers striking at the beach and that can get really out of hand. The last thing is selling it. If it just makes sense, if it's gotten away from you with either maintenance or you don't use it, it's just sort of an afterthought and it's an asset sitting at the beach that you're not doing anything with it. The cost of money is definitely a factor in everyone's life. If that money can be put somewhere else to make income, that might be a better move for you. But if you have any questions, give me a call, text me, email me. Jim Allison. I've got some experience. I can help you out with these questions.